All right, we are scheduled to have Bear on here. They're flying from, Vancouver to Edmonton, so he will hopefully join us here shortly. Nice win for the Coyotes last night. Wolf beat one of the best teams in hockey. They've been doing this a little bit lately. We'll talk about the arena stuff in a little bit, certainly. I will just say this. Last night was like, if you're a hockey fan specifically, like if you're a hardcore hockey fan, if you're a hardcore Coyotes fan, all the other stuff, all the other distractions and garbage you've had to deal with, Dylan Guenther and Logan Cooley are legit. And it was kind of weird watching that game last night, seeing Guenther just go off 4 more points. I mean, this guy's going to be like a legit all-star, not a like, hey, every team has to have one.
No, you've been saying that for the last few weeks in particular, really stressing that.
And Cooley got his 19th goal. He's only 19 years old, and I that's bittersweet. I get that right now for a lot of hockey fans.
No, it really is very, very cool to actually see that. Some young guys, it always reminds me, it does, of when I was trying to make my way in the National Football League. I understand how difficult it is to do it at the highest level our species can generate. So when I think of those young guys, it fills me with a hope, and I am encouraged for them in their careers and what that career might actually look like. Yet at the same time, with everything that's going on around the Coyotes right now, the context of this, it's tough.
Yeah, I may as well get into that while we're efforting to get Bear on the phone. The reason I was saying it's bittersweet, obviously, is, this is... Look, I would say, you remember doing the show with me last May when the Tempe vote failed.
Yeah.
And I, in the, 11 months, 10 months since then, I've really, just from my own personal headspace on that, tried to talk to people that aren't involved from the hockey side of things, but just very neutral. And all they've done is reinforce that I probably should have been angrier that day. So to me, that's where if this truly goes wrong, that's where it went wrong, was that specific moment last May. But with the Cooley and Guenther thing, it's like, as a Coyotes fan, you have been waiting for skill guys like this. I don't know that they've ever truly had skill guys like that since Jeremy Roenick.
Yeah.
And they've got 2 of them right now. And I don't know. You ask the fans to invest and wait. And okay, we're rebuilding. And this Coyotes team next year should be like the Diamondbacks were last year.
I was just going to say that, Luke. I honestly was. I think of Cooley and I think of Guenther, and I think of how many young guys the Arizona Diamondbacks had that actually they were counting on. They were going out and they were getting real experience last year. When you think of Corbin Carroll, of course, and you think of Gabby Moreno, and you think of Jerry, right, Perdomo, and you think of all these young guys, Brandon Fott, you got to fight for your right. You think of all these young guys that are out there and making their way, and how much better we all expect them to be this year. Well, to your point in regard to Cooley and Guenther, that's exactly the expectation going forward. Where will the Coyotes be? That's the problem.
Yeah, we have a story laid out on the site. We've got quite a few, actually, and Gambo's been all over this, but he, essentially said the options. Gambo yesterday narrowed it down to basically 3 options for the Coyotes. Sell the team, relocate temporarily, or sell it with the option of coming back as an expansion team if Morello can win the land bid on June 27th and get an arena built. And Gambo also said option 3 is the most likely. You know my thoughts on this. The second politics enter into it at all, I think most people on this station and listening to the station are on the station or listening to the station because they're sick of politics. So the second politics enter in, you've got it gets really dicey, which is what happened last May. If they just had an arena in Tempe, none of this obviously would be an issue. But I'll just go back to the fact that the Diamondbacks, like you were saying, going into last season, it was like, okay, Moreno could be. It wasn't 1 or 2 players. It was like 5 or 6 really good young players that they had quietly been building. And with the Coyotes, I keep talking about Cooley and Guenther. Josh Doan looks pretty good. Matias Michelli is really good. So, if you're a Coyotes fan, you don't need any more salt in the wound. You just don't. After all this time, now the team's going to get good, and and all this is on the table.
Yeah, the old saying, Basinonians, where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Gary Bettman wants hockey here in the desert. He does. If you are for hockey here in the desert, think of Gary Bettman, because honestly, having the commissioner actually behind you and wanting that to exist here in the desert, that is such a good thing. It is such a good thing, and it's one of the reasons why I continue to think somehow, some way, they're going to keep it here. Somehow. Now, I realize the odds don't look good right now. It doesn't. But where there's a will, there's a way. And Gary Bettman wants hockey here in the desert. It's important to the league. So we'll see what happens.
You know, it's strange, too. I was just talking to Mike Broomhead about this. Like, there have been times where things have been a lot more dire behind the scenes, and Bettman has stepped in and made sure they stayed here. Like, the idea that he wants an NHL team in Phoenix, that is indisputable.
Yes.
Absolutely indisputable. We'll get more into this in a little bit. We got Andre Tourigny joining us on the Arizona Sports Line right after last night's win over Vancouver. Coach, thanks for the time. How you doing?
Very good. Sorry, guys, I'm late.
Oh, you're good.
It's okay, Bear.
Let's just start with the win last night, beating Vancouver. That's a really good team. I know you had talked, to your team about how to approach that game. What did you see from your group?
Unbelievable, resilient, focus, really competitive. Showed a lot of pride. I think I'm really proud of them. I think that this year we talk a lot when we had distraction before. We did not react the right way, and we got disturbed, basically, and we have some regret about it. So I think yesterday was an unbelievable commitment. Was a lot of work, a lot of battles. I'm really proud of the way that the guys react.
Bear, I have to ask you this because obviously being a former, I know, you're already laughing. You know what's coming right now, but being a guy that played in the National Football League, I know how important it is to be settled, for your context to be settled right now. And obviously with everything that is going on, how is this impacting your dressing room with all of these rumors that are out there, where you're going to go, where the team is going to go? How is this impacting your players?
That is a lot of impact because our player loves to play in Phoenix. They love to play for each other. I think that has a huge impact. But I will tell you where it has the most impact is we have 31 staff members who don't have a contract for next year. Those guys have family. Some are divorced. Some their kids are in Phoenix and they're divorced. Some have a wife or a partner who has a job who now they will have to take a decision if the team is moving. Are they moving with the team and their wife has to leave their job behind, or do they decide to not follow and leave a job they love because their partner has a great job in Phoenix or something like that? Some guys have kids who are at university, they need to pay for the university. Those kind of things are real. That's real. That's emotion. That's real life, and that's where we're in. And that is, me as a coach, I love Phoenix. I choose to renew in Phoenix. I want to be in Phoenix, but I don't know what will happen. It's out of my control. I did not heard anything from Tory or whatever, so I don't know what's going on. But one thing I know is, right, the rumors are strong, and right now, when we talk to staff and their family are extremely impacted, and that is where I think it could create a really difficult situation for us, athlete and coach, where you can be traded anytime, coach can be fired anytime. That's real life. That's the way it is. But for the people you work with, we're in sport, but we're in people business. So for me, the people we're working with are heavily impacted right now, and that's where my thoughts are.
We're talking to Andre Tourigny. Coach, I know you had just said you liked the way your guys responded last night, and maybe it's an escape to just get to go out there and play hockey. You beat a really good team. Dylan Guenther, Logan Cooley looked great. And I know you said you've had to kind of talk about it in the past with them as far as distractions. How have they, just on a personal level, the players, been able to kind of navigate this?
I think that in the morning we learned the news in the morning and everything, and the rumor. And we address it as a team. And I think the guys are, the guys, they love each other. They love our group. They love to play for each other. So we have like I said, we had a chip on our shoulder of what happened on January 24th, and it was an opportunity for us to bounce back. And I think the boys did a fabulous job to support people around them and push for each other. The vibe on the bench was phenomenal. The guys, they did not want to quit. They did not want to let anything go. They pushed for each other. They pick up. That was one of the great days in 3 years yesterday, and the way the player respond and push for each other and really hold together. So that is great to see. We have that character in our room and that kind of bunch of guys who care for each other.
Bear, I feel like I've come to know you just through our weekly conversations and respect you greatly for the coach that you are. Having said that, right now, how do you frame up these last 3 games for your players? Because that's what a coach typically does. How are you framing up these last 3 games for your guys?
Well, we know it will be a huge challenge in the sense of our opponent twice are Edmonton. Might be by every metrics right now when you look at the underlying numbers. They're the best team in the NHL, offensively and defensively right now since probably 70 games. So that will be a great challenge. But for us, I think it's an opportunity to grow, learning how to play against those kind of impact players they have, but as well with the pace they play and how good they play defensively. So they will be a threat in every second, every moment in the game. But for us, it will be, again, distraction was there yesterday, will be there today. Those guys are human beings. Now, the wife is calling, asking, hey, we just buy a house. What are we doing with that? Or so little Johnny was going at that school. Now we need to fight. That will be real. But those distractions are part of being a professional and part of our life. So it's a test for us. And my intention is to address that with the group and say, hey, you know what? We need to be able to go through that, because next year, whatever is our team situation in Phoenix or elsewhere, we will have to go through other distractions. So we will keep the same focus for the last 3 games and being able to deal with those distractions and keep pushing forward and keep playing game where we're focused and urgent, and we want to pass that test.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time as always, man. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Okay,
right,
God bless.
It's Coyotes head coach Andre Tourigny right there joining us on the Arizona Sports Line.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.